Good morning, everybody. Welcome to AMD's Workshop 101. This is supposed to be a hands-on workshop with bring on your device. We will give you access to AMD GPU MI300. So if you have your laptop, feel free to take it out and get ready for it. There is one technical problem. Apparently the Wi-Fi at Berkeley does block that connection to the GPU we have, so you have to use your hotspot on your phone or any alternative Wi-Fi you have. We did not expect this until we got here. We tried it, tried to communicate earlier, but this is some sort of problem that we didn't expect. But if you have, again, hotspot, that would be ideal. You can connect to your laptop. There is a challenge part at the end of the workshop, so we do have prizes for up to 5 people, I believe, that whoever can finish the challenge and we verify it, you'll win the prize. But my apologies for the technical difficulties. So I hope you guys have your alternative Wi-Fi source, either, again, a hotspot or different source of Wi-Fi. So my name is Maddie. I'm an application engineer, AI solution architect as well, 2 titles. And I work mostly on testing out all the open source AI, agentic or applications to see if they work with AMD GPUs, and we can integrate it if it's not working, find out the problems. I also have a couple of coworkers here. Ida is right there. For any of the problems you guys may face in the workshop, we're here to help you. And also Shekhar, who's on his way, and he'll be here soon. So before I start, just a question. So how many of you guys have used AMD GPU for AI development? Half? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So I see there's a lot of potential here. So just to start, at AMD, it's been a few years that we just focusing on changing that perspective of AMD is not just a gaming GPU. You can use it for AI work. So to enable that, we have done a lot of work with different communities. PyTorch, for example, you can just pip install PyTorch on any of the AMD GPUs and it works. Hugging Face as well, Hugging Face Transformers is, we got a CI/CD with them, so you can actually get them installed on or work on any of our AMD GPUs. vLLM and SGLang, we have a deep collaboration with them, so we have the Dockers also every night for vLLM, I think, and for SGLang every couple of weeks or a week, you get an update with the latest one. And in terms of models, we have day 0 support for most of the models. So you see Llama 3, Llama 4 coming, and we have day 0 support for it. Same with DeepSeek, Qwen, and more models that I can't talk about. They're coming up soon. But watch out. So any of the models that come out, AMD GPUs is one of the only hardware that you can actually get the model running from day 0. From day 0 might not be the most efficient way of running it because some of the kernels are so new and it needs a bit of work on the backend part. So we have different teams working around the clock when the models are released to make sure the throughput is increased over time. So DeepSeek is a good example. So when it was released on day 0, we had it running from the moment it was released. Within a couple of weeks, we got it 4 times faster than what it was released first. And this is just to make sure that for the customers that we have or for anybody who's a developer and they want to have the fastest speed, we don't stop at just supporting the model. We continuously work on it to increase the throughput. In terms of today's workshop, we are providing you guys with a link that has access to MI300. MI300 was released a couple of years ago as one of the things that actually got AMD a huge boost in AI. One of the reasons is the high bandwidth memory on the AMD MI300 is about 192 gigabytes. So you do get a lot of room for running larger models. If you have access to a full node, it's 8 of these guys. So you can actually run a DeepSeek or Kimi or any of the bigger models with 1 node. So it gives you a lot more efficiency for or convenient for running the models that are larger, higher batch sizes, or you guys know all the benefits of having a higher bandwidth memory. So in terms of today, we're going to give you the AMD MI300 access. But the topic for today is AI agent. This is the definition I got from Hugging Face agent course. So the simplest way to describe it, what is an AI agent is basically a model that can do reasoning, planning, and most importantly, interacting with its environment. Here I have an example to show this in action. So we have this demo actually downstairs, and you can actually go play with it. And this is based on an open source project called Browser Use. Browser Use actually is one of those AI agents that has all the planning within the system prompt. You can basically type any sort of browsing task you have, and it will take care of it for you. The example I have here is one night I wanted to make chili, and I wanted to see what ingredients comes with chili, and if you can put that in my shopping cart on Instacart. And all I had to do is just type that command or prompt in the GUI, and as you can see, it's doing all the planning. It's trying to figure out what the ingredients are, and then add them one by one to my cart and have it ready for me to purchase. So today we're going to give you a little glimpse of this on how you can actually build something like this, a very, very simple version of it. And hopefully we learn from each other, and hopefully some of you guys will win the challenge. Okay. So in terms of the agenda for right now, what we're going to use is vLLM for the backend. How many of you guys actually used vLLM before or know about it? Great, great, great. It was born in Berkeley, so it's one of the projects that started at Berkeley, and now it's one of the most dominant way to actually serve models. AMD, NVIDIA, we all support it, and I love it. It's one of the easiest way to run any of the models. You just put the name from Hugging Face, and you can run it. For the framework for AI agents, we're using PydanticAI. The reason I chose that is a super simple open source library you can use to build any sort of agent. We'll get a little glimpse of how to build one. And finally, we're going to show you how to use MCP servers in this framework. So there's a lot of hype around it. Why is MCP so hyped? We'll get a little bit of an idea of how we can integrate it here and why is it hyped. Okay, just for my knowledge, how many of you guys actually got that, alternative source of internet, like roughly? All right, for you guys. I highly recommend it because it's just, these GPUs are super expensive. I wish I had access to this a year ago before I joined AMD, and I tried. I couldn't get one, but now we're giving a lot of free access. We also have that available on our developer hub. Visit us downstairs, you can sign you up, you get free access to this GPU. I'm gonna leave this up for a bit and see if everybody gets connected, just maybe a couple minutes, and I'll move on to actually running the workshop. You guys should have a little tab right here. You should open one, and that will open a terminal. So basically, you'll have a Jupyter-like tab here, and then that should have a terminal. So if I just go up here, right above where the notebook is, and you should see a terminal. I know it's small, I'm sorry. So starting there, it should load a terminal for you. So the first step of this notebook is actually running the model. So that would actually first download the model and then load it to your GPU. And it will take a couple minutes, so maybe we can start with that. So the way we do it, if you just scroll down the first step, you could see a little code with the vLLM use. That's where I copy this whole thing and then paste it in the terminal and press enter. So let's do that. I hope you guys got what I meant. Are we good with this part? Anybody's having a problem? Can I get Ida? Maybe you can help here too as well. So the cool thing about this command that you guys running is if you want to grab any of the models from Hugging Face, you just basically need its name, and you just do vLLM serve model name, and that's it. You just get an OpenAI endpoint that you could use for any sort of open source applications that needs OpenAI-based URL. So this is creating that for you. So all I've done is basically gone vLLM serve the model name, and the model name comes directly from Hugging Face. The parameters you see here, they're optional, but for Agentic, you do need to have the tool calling, and that's where it's coming. The couple parameters I have there, for example, I'm just gonna read them. So enable auto tool choice and tool call parser Hermes. The tool call parser is model-based. So the way I get that is from vLLM documentation. I go look at it and figure out for what model, what tool parser I need to use. The rest of them, again, optional. You can always look it up on vLLM documentation and get a better understanding.
How do I run this command Python?
Yeah, so all the code cells in the Jupyter, it probably applies to everybody. You just either do Shift Enter, or there's a play button on the top left, on the top of the notebook. So basically select a cell and run it. So the first cell I have there is basically setting the variable, such as base URL. Oh, okay, we're good. Perfect, all right. So here we are, so the base URL, we're setting that to our local host. The port is 8000 that we got from above there. And then we also set the API key. So let's just like run it together. Once you run it, if you get the green, that means that it's completed. If it's yellow, it's still running. So right now, the first one is completed, and you got the URL set. And just to test the server to make sure we get a response, I'm just going to run this. So you do need to get a response from the server that, hey, I'm ready to serve you. The model name is this. And you can go ahead and use it. Installing dependency, we're going to run PydanticAI installation. It will take a couple minutes. That's good. Next, what we're doing here is just basically all we're doing is connecting the agent to a model that we just run. So basically here what we're doing is telling the agent model that, hey, we want you to use the endpoint we just started. So first we just start with a variable.
It's because you have an online audience that can't see it.
Oh, okay.
So if you're mirroring on all your displays.
Sounds good. Okay, so we set that the agent to actually use the OpenAI base URL that we used. And the next thing is let's just like connect it to our agent. So all I'm doing here is creating an agent instance from PydanticAI. So it's as simple as, hey, PydanticAI import agent. You create a variable, you run it, you have it connected to your agent instance. The next part is just the helper function. So this helper function, all it's doing is just running your agent. So to run the agent, you can do synchronous, asynchronous, or word streaming. So I selected asynchronous running of the agent. Also, because we're going to be using the MCP server, that's what I'm doing. This is all coming from PydanticAI documentation. So, but we're just using it for a helper function. So later we can just say run async prompt, and you'll get the agent response. And to start, we have a very, very simple, what is the capital of France? And we're going to run it together to see if we get a response from the model. Perfect. So we should all get a response now. The capital of France is Paris, and more token generation by the model. But this is just confirming that you actually can connect to the model. The agent is getting a response, and it's ready to be developed further. Any problems so far? We good? Yeah, okay. So what's going to happen if I just say, hey, what's the date today, right? So far, we haven't given this agent anything. If you remember for the agent part, I said the agent is basically a model that you can give it tools, right? Right now, it doesn't have any tools. So if I run, what's the date today? It basically says, hey, I have no idea. You should see something like, don't have real-time capability to check the current date, but I can help you calculate it, or it's still trying to figure out how to get it for you, but it doesn't have the tool. So before the MCP was hyped, everybody would have to actually write a little function and then add it as a tool to the agent. And that's what we're doing here. So we're basically using the tool decorator from Pydantic and making a very simple one-liner Python function, get current date, and defining it as a tool, right? We also, if you notice, we imported a tool library for PydanticAI to be able to enable that. And next thing is one of the important part of having an agent is having a good system prompt, and that's what I'm doing here. Basically just say, hey, now you have access to a new tool that could get you date and time. I also connected that signature of the function that we just created to our agent to be able to use it. So, and that's all I'll be doing. Next, let's run the same prompt we just did. What's the date today? And let's see what happens. So you should now see the agent is actually connected, gets a current date, and now it doesn't have to guess or try to calculate things. So basically right now I'm just trying to show you the power of how having tools can enable the agent to interact with its environment and do things that it couldn't do just based on its knowledge now. But next thing is kind of why is MCP hyped, right? We had to write this function. We had to go define what the date and time function is. And that could be a lot more complicated based on, different things you need. For example, if you want to have an agent to send an email for you, right? You have to go read the Google API, write a custom tool for it, and then add it as a tool and be able to do it. But with MCP, you can actually literally integrate a Google MCP and then just call that instead. So here we're just doing the same example of the time server. So I'm just going to install the MCP server, but again, running the cell. I got the installation method and all the things below it from the GitHub repo of this MCP. You can find these MCP servers. I have a couple links in the next step that you can find them. But let's just go ahead and just follow the instructions of these guys who built this. But one point is we had to now add the MCP server stdio for our PydanticAI library. And one note is, don't play around with the city. This is again open source MCP. If you put a wrong city or something that's not supported, it's going to say connection error. They don't have a very good error checking. What you could do if you want to play with this tool later, you could just basically ask it in a prompt. What's the date? What's the time right now in California? Or ask the agent to calculate that for you rather than you actually go change the tool. So let's just start with defining the agent again, but this time we removed the tool. We connected MCP server to it. And we, again, call it the exact variable that we defined up there. And then we updated the system prompt. Hey, you're a helpful agent. You have access to this tool. Do it again. And one point about MCP server before I move on, MCP servers come with a pack of tools. So one MCP server could have multiple tools, right? And that's the name of the tool actually from that MCP server. That's where I'm getting it from. Again, it's from documentation of the MCP server that I'm using. Let's define our agent again, and now run it. Instead of using our tool, this time we are going to use the MCP server. OK, so you should see something like this. The current date is August 2nd. You can ask it what time is it now, and then again, select your city. You feel free to play with the prompt. All right, this is the last step of this workshop before I move on to the challenge. Do we have any problems so far, or everybody's good?
At the very beginning, when we started the server, can you just show the output of the terminal again?
Sure, yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so the question is, for the server side, when we started the vLLM serve command, can you show exactly what happened and show the terminal output? And thank you for asking that question because we couldn't show that on the screen when this happened. Basically, first of all, you have to make sure you have everything exactly the same way I put there. We're going to disable flash attention and then run a vLLM serve. Then what it's going to happen is it will first download the model. So if the model download is by any chance interrupted, you can just Control-C to kill the server and restart it again. It will continue downloading the model from the point that it failed. And then finally, it loads the model on the GPU, and then at the very end, you should see a message like this. Info, start a server process, waiting for application startup, and this basically will be your last message you should see if you run the server correctly. Oh, it should take a minute or two. Yeah. Yeah, so the question is how long would it take for this to basically load everything? This is running on our cloud developer, so it's a very fast internet. The model is about 70 gigabytes, and it will take about a minute to download the model and about a minute to load the model.
So if you want to implement a function that's not in the MCP server, or you don't know the name, like for now it's MCP date time server or something, but if you don't know what it is there a way to search, or do you have to write the function if it's not there in MCP?
So the question is, like, if I get it correctly, your question is if you want to define our own custom tool, or if you want to use an MCP server that is not one of the ones I showed. Which one is it?
Yes, it's not the one you showed.
Okay.
Or you don't know the name of the...
Yeah. Great question. So basically, right on step 6, you'll see I have 2 links here, right? And it's not limited to this. MCP servers are developed by people all around the world. Some of them are enterprise level, some of them are just open source. So I put 2 links here that, people are tracking these MCP servers being developed. You can just go ahead and just open any of those links. You'll see there's tons of them, right? If you want to use any of these guys, you can just click on it, and then on the documentation side, you'll see how to install it, different ways to use it, and also what tools that it come with. Sometimes the documentation is better; it actually puts the name of the tool there. Sometimes it actually you have to go look at the code. Again, it depends on who made it. The cool thing, though, is if you connect to MCP server correctly, you can actually ask your agents, hey, what tools do I have access to? And it actually would be able to list all the MCP tools that you just integrated there.
Is there a way to stream the response?
Sorry?
Like now we get the response as a line. Right? Is there a way to stream that response?
Oh. So the question is, can we get the streaming enabled for the agent? Yes, so if you look at the PydanticAI, the documentation of it, there's 3 ways to run the model. It's async, sync, and async with streaming. So if you look at that, you actually can find that information there. Okay. Yeah.
So is there a way, is there a way that, is there a drag and drop user interface that can actually look at the libraries of MCP that you can draw and basically connect a loop to form an agent loop? And then eventually sort of build the stuff? Because what I see is seldom, when you're trying to build these systems at scale, so one of the things that I see is the multiple functions that you got to call in a sort of a loop. What I was hoping for is is there any framework that allows us to do those sort of things, where you can actually design the prompt, connect, do a bunch of things, but at the same time you're also having access to the various MCP servers that you have.
It's a question, I guess, is there any sort of UI base, is that you're asking, that you can drag and drop an MCP server and get the tools?
You're doing it static, right? So you're basically getting the PD file either from Python index or whatever it is, and you're installing it.
Yeah.
What I'm getting to is as you're building a system at scale, so there could be things where people want to use what they want to connect with combination.
Right. To be very honest with you, I don't know if there's any tool like that available or anything like that. But in terms of, again, connecting your MCP, so the question is, any tools that you can just drop the MCP and see any sort of tools that come with it? I don't know. But with different agenting frameworks, if they're built properly, if you just connect the MCP server, again, you can literally prompt the agent. It's give me the name of all the tools you have, or even draw a graph of all the tools you have that I can use, or you could do that with a proper agentic framework. But then I don't know if there's anybody built that. Be a cool project if you started. Okay, there's one question there too.
You said you can ask the agent. You said you can ask the agent to list the tools available in the MCP.
Yeah.
Why do you even need the system prompt then?
You don't. So I've had the pain of working with the smaller models, right? So say the same Quint 3, 1.6 billion, if I remember correctly, I had to build a project because they wanted to make sure it meets the time requirement, right? The smaller models are not great at actually auto-calling the tools. So a lot of times you say, what's the date today? It makes up an answer. It's hey, today is 2050, right? So to make sure the agent is actually behaving better, I'm always sticking to system prompts and kind of reminding that, hey, you have access to this tool. So if anybody is asking for a date or time, try to use this tool. Yeah.
Also, to his point, there's the listing of the MCP servers that's like a link, like mcp.so.
Yeah.
So if someone made an MCP server that could access all of the available MCP servers on that website, that could work. Do a meta MCP server.
Great question. It's a great project to start again. Thanks for the point. Okay. All right, let's go to the next step. So this time I'm just trying to use 2 MCP servers at the same time to just give you guys like the, leave you guys with something that may be useful. I don't know if you guys are gonna use this later, but you can actually turn this agent that we just built into an Airbnb finder. You can say, hey, I'm looking for an Airbnb in this city on this date for 2 nights for 2 adults, no pets, with pet, whatever the MCP allows you to ask, and then get some sort of listing. But to do so, again, I had to go look up how to install the dependencies. So we start with installing Node and NPM to make sure that we actually have all the dependencies installed. Hopefully I'm still connected to my, okay, yeah. So this should take care of that for you. We tried to make it as simple as possible for this workshop to run. I'm sure you guys are gonna have a lot of problems with some of installation and how to get them working. As there's a challenge, you may face some of that later when I show the challenge. But for now, this should run smoothly. Then let's check the versions, make sure we got version 20 for Node, and the rest should look like what I have here. And then finally, again, this is how I got it from Airbnb server's page for the MCP server. You need these arguments to be added to your MCP, stdio, and the type is npx. So we're going to run that. And then finally, again, I'm going to update the system prompt, not because I have to, because I want to make sure that it's behaving the way I want. The MCP server from Airbnb comes with a bunch of functions. So 2 of the ones that I'm going to use here, and I want to make sure the agent is using, one is Airbnb search, the other one is Airbnb listing details. So that's why I'm naming them. Again, this is coming from their documentation. And I'm letting them know when the users ask for a listing, first call, get current time, then get the Airbnb search. Let's run this again. One thing that I just want you guys to pay attention is you can, since you add in a second MCP server, you can actually have this growing. So you just have to include, again, the signature of the variable you've set for your MCP server. And then finally, how do I get the model to use both MCP? I'm not giving it a date. I'm just saying next Sunday, right? So I'm trying to get the agent to first do the planning, calculate what next Sunday is, and then give it, hey, I want it for 3 nights for 2 adults in Vancouver. All right. So running this will take about, I guess, like a minute to get a response. And this is because it's communicating with the MCP server of Airbnb. Is trying to get the listing and show you guys a listing of all the matches it finds for you. This is basically the last cell I'm running with you guys. So you should get a response like this. We can obviously post-process it to make it look better, but we can also try one of the links to make sure it works. And there you go. Let me go back here. Oh, it says view all listings here. Again, this is something that you can prompt better or have a prompt to give me the link for each of them, and it will do it. And that's, again, like something that I've dealt with the agents is your system prompt is important, and also the prompt you give the agent is very important. This is basically, again, the last thing I wanted to run. So from here on, for the challenge, you can obviously do it all in the Jupyter notebook that we're giving you. If you want to start a new cell, you could just do this and type your code, or you can just modify the ones that we have. So what are our challenges that you could do in the next 10 minutes, and whoever gets it first wins it? So we have 2 challenges for you guys. Challenge 1. There is an AMD SMI API, right? So if you look at here, again, going back to my notebook, you can actually check to see how much of our GPU you're using, right? This part was the part that I actually had my monitor was not connecting, so I didn't show you guys. But say RockM SMI will show you the GPU utilization. Whenever you're running, that goes up. The VRAM is 88%. So what we want you guys to do is create a custom tool. So I showed you how to create a custom tool. I also showed you how to integrate MCP server. So challenge 1 is create a custom tool using AMD SMI. It's not the ROCm SMI. AMD SMI has a Python API. It's very well documented. If you Google it, you'll find it. And the goal is to get a response from the agent that, hey, like the VRAM usage is this. Actually, the other slide here. So it should look like something like this. Let me expand it, make sure you guys see it. Sorry. Do you guys see a response like this? Okay. The response should look like something like this. Hey, show the VRAM uses percent of the single AMD GPU in use, and you should get something like, hey, it's about, I don't know, 90% or 88%. It should be around there. That's challenge 1. Again, AMD SMI, write a tool with a tool decorator to get to this sort of functionality of your agent. Challenge number 2 is add an MCP server. So go Google, find a free and open, well, it doesn't have to be free. If you want to pay for it, go ahead. We're not going to stop you. But you want to basically add an MCP server for weather. So the whole point is like, hey, like, can you suggest me good days to travel within the next few days? Or how is the weather in California or Berkeley today? That works too. So if I see a response that coming from your agent, that's also acceptable. So basically, if you do any of these 2 challenges, it doesn't have to be both. One of them, you could choose between the 2. You will win the prize. It's based on, again, first come, first serve. Whoever gets it done fast first, they'll win the prize. But yeah, from here on is your part. It's hands-on part for you to do it. I'm done with the workshop part, so if you're not participating, that'll be it for now. But I'll give you guys about 10 minutes from here to see if you guys want to finish it. And thank you for joining us again. One question there? Yeah.
So, is it fair to say that companies will publish their own MCP servers in future for people to find
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Sorry. Is it fair to say that in future each company will publish their own MCP servers to expose their, like for Airbnb, for example, if somebody wants to find them on Airbnb, what is the purpose of this as opposed to API? API basically goes specifically to the website. You give them certain format, you get the output in certain format.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's funny. I'm from Vancouver, and I was driving up to Berkeley, and I saw a big billboard that was like, "Are your APIs ready for AI agents?" So basically, I think that's where we're going. You look at Google, you look at GitHub. They're all releasing their own MCP server now, right? And they want to make sure they have the enterprise level ready for that. Like this Airbnb we use is not by Airbnb, right? Some random person just made it. Right. I think so. It looks like that way. MCP was launched, I think, in November, and I saw in January it started to get momentum. And by now, I see a lot of software that are actually integrated. So I think it's gonna go that way. APIs are nice for humans like us. We want to actually have it very well documented for humans to read. But MCPs would be a next level for the agents to actually do the same thing. So it's a good guess. I can't tell for sure, but that's my guess. That's all.
If others don't have a question, I would like to follow up on this. So Chitra actually gave an A2A talk just a short while back, and she talked about this travel planner and all that, and that's a very common scenario in enterprise agencies, what have you. So basically, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, there's like a trip finder, there's like a rating finder, there's Airbnb finder. One day you'll have all these MCP servers, and all that LM root agent has to do is basically just go and find them and orchestrate between them and interpret the result. Is that a fair characterization, or is it too simplistic?
I think it's fair. I mean, in terms of like the agent that we're showing right now, and I just built one, it's like a single agent, right? If you look at more complicated agentic frameworks, not only the same agent you have can have multiple other agents within the same framework. So like I have another project built exactly PydanticAI that use your orchestrator agent, and you have a bunch of other agents to do some other task for you, and they communicate with each other. It's like, hey, you have, instead of me saying you have access to this like, tool, it'll be similar, but the tool will be a whole AI model that is capable of doing planning and do all the execution itself. And then on top of that, you're talking about A to A, like Google Agentic kit that they just came up with. And that becomes a way of communication across different frameworks, right? It doesn't have to be like just PydanticAI. You can have agents elsewhere, and they can communicate with each other. And that's kind of like the path I'm seeing it's going. We're still kind of the beginning of the whole agentic phase of our AI, and we'll see how far it goes. But so far, that's the path I see, and we'll see how far we go.